The PS3, Xbox 360, and Nintendo Wii era is my favorite era of gaming. So many incredible games during this era, so much fun, really competitive online gaming becoming new, HD becoming new, and just generally a good variety of games to play. I'm showing Batman Arkham City, one of the best superhero games of all time. So much to do in this game, whether it's the good story mode, whether it's the incredible challenge mode, the Riddler's Revenge, if you're doing combat, if you're doing Predator stealth missions, if you're doing the campaign and you've got the different modifiers to either make it harder or easier. Everything about it. Oh yeah, and getting the bat icons. You know, the better you do, the more bat icons you get. You can get up to 3. It was just brilliant. Bat icons or stars. I'm trying to remember now. But either way, getting 3 of those was the best for a challenge. And then in a campaign, it was would have been 9. Yeah, because it was Anyway, that was really fun. The story missions were pretty fun as well, and the story itself was good and nothing amazing, to be honest, but perfectly fine. The characters and voice acting was amazing though. And the side missions, some of the side missions were great. I loved the Riddler one. I think that was the best one. Okay, it was a pain getting all the stuff, but overall it was still good, and some of the Riddler challenges to get the trophies was pretty cool. Yeah, and also you can play as different characters, as you can see here. If you have the DLC, you can play as Catwoman in the campaign. She gets a few little sections of gameplay. It's not that much, but still, it's pretty fun. And yeah, it's just a bit of extra gameplay, isn't it? And then in the challenge maps, you can play as Catwoman, Batman, Robin, and Nightwing. And it's good to have a little change from them. I mean, Batman is the best player, as he's just the best, so... But it's good to have some variety anyway. But one of the only bad things about this era was the introduction of downloadable content DLC. As far as I'm aware, that wasn't a thing before, which was a bit annoying. Obviously having to pay for extra stuff in the games. Sometimes the games were pretty full of stuff anyway, and then the additional stuff was at a decent price, so it wasn't too bad. But then you had Call of Duty, which was quite annoying how many maps they sort of forced you to... But not forced you to, but to have the best version of the game, you needed to buy the stuff, really. So that was quite annoying, but yeah, it's only one nitpick, and it has got worse with like the skins and customizables and stuff in later generations. So yeah, shame on them, really. And Xbox was the one that started the paid subscription service, which again was pretty shameful. PlayStation had free service, and those were the good old days when if you wanted to buy a game, you had to buy a game instead of justifying, oh, if you pay for a service, you also get free games in a month. And most of the time, the free games in the month aren't that good, or I already have them. So yeah, not impressed, but either way, it is what it is. Anyway, going back to this era and these great games, we had the Uncharted games on PlayStation. So you had Uncharted 1, 2, 3... Yep, that was it. And 2 was the best one, definitely. Best story, best gameplay, really good moments, good cutscenes, fun gameplay as well, actually, in the main. Yeah, I would hugely recommend playing it. Then you had The Last of Us towards the end of the generation. Obviously, that amazing story, great voice acting, pretty good gameplay as well. Not amazing, but good. And a great game that I would recommend everyone plays at some point. Yes, it can be a bit gory at times and intense, but I'm pretty sure most people will love it. But anyway, other games other than these, you had the Mass Effect trilogy, which I'm going to show a bit more of later. Those were amazing games. I mean, talk about when games are so good, the gameplay doesn't even matter that much. The gameplay is pretty mediocre, to be honest, in those games, but the story, the world building, the music, it's so good. I can understand why some people view them as their favorite games of all time. It'd definitely be in my top 20, or at least top 30, probably top 20 to be fair. Mass Effect 1, but yeah, the other two maybe would get in the top 50, top 30. But anyway, you'll see more of that later. Yeah, so it's a good start from the PlayStation era. You've already got those. Then you have the Call of Duties. You had Call of Duty 4, Modern Warfare 2, Black Ops 2 was probably my favourite 3 of those, but Black Ops 1 was also amazing, especially the zombies. Modern Warfare 3 had the good survival mode and the specialist system in multiplayer. And the good campaign as well. And then you had World at War, not as good, but still pretty fun. A lot of people enjoyed Battlefield. I wasn't too keen on Battlefield, but I can understand that people liked it, so fair enough. You also had those games in that era, so that was to rival Call of Duty. I'm going to show a bit of Heavy Rain, one of my favourite games of all time. So ambitious in scope. Yes, a bit sloppy in the way they executed some things, and there are plot holes, etc. The supernatural not being explained at times just because they were going to add it in the game and then decided not to. But overall, incredible game. So much player choice, so much impact to what you decide. The way these type of games should be. Telltale is really good at these games as well, but they're just not as good, I don't think. They don't have as much impact. Your decisions you make are fake decisions, essentially. The story pretty much ends up the same way all the time. Okay, the final outcome might be a bit different, but the story goes the same way pretty much all the time, regardless of what you choose. Whereas in Heavy Rain, you can completely mess the game up. So yeah, which I think is cool. Or just have a different outcome. Maybe you want the bad guy to win or whatever and get away with it. But yeah, anyway, it's just better, in my opinion. But the Telltale games was another great thing of this era. Especially The Walking Dead Season 1, such a good game. The story was amazing. I just would have preferred to have some player choices which actually impacted the story more, instead of just, one person died or 2 people died. For your own player choice, that would have, it would have been better like that. But overall, the story was really good. The characters were interesting as well. So, yeah, great games and from Telltale, and I'd recommend that, and The Wolf Among Us was really good as well. So I'd recommend playing those games. Other brilliant games of this era, and there are many, as you know. The stealth games, the best 2 in my opinion were Deus Ex Human Revolution. For me, the best stealth game of the PS3, Xbox 360, Wii era. So good. The story itself was good. The sci-fi aspects, being able to use the different cyber powers, the cloaking, the basically the projectiles that you can fire, it's just so good. Basically, I'd recommend it highly. There's so many different approaches to how you do missions. You can go use combat, you can talk your way through situations, you can go under underground sewers. It's just so good. It's honestly one of the best games of all time, in my opinion. It's got to be in my top 20 best games ever. Dishonored as well is so good. Not quite as good, but incredible. You've got all these different powers, which the powers are probably more fun to use even than Deus Ex. No, I disagree with that. I think Deus Ex was more fun, even with the powers, but there's more choice of powers and more different variety in Dishonored. Both games have incredible freedom of approach. Just honestly, I would recommend these. And you don't even have to play them like stealth, but I think they are best to do stealth. So, yeah. Just, you have to see it to believe it. Hitman Absolution was also a good stealth game. Not a good Hitman game, I suppose, because it was linear. Hitman shouldn't be linear, but whatever. It was fun. And using instinct was a good idea. Admittedly, they messed up with the point shooter idea from Instinct, but they got rid of that in the World of Assassination series, which brought their series into another new height. I mean, probably the best stealth games ever made. I know that's a big claim because lots of people love Metal Gear Solid and the original Deus Ex, and obviously Human Revolution was amazing as well. Those games are probably close contenders, but I think just the World Assassination trilogy is just so much content. The freelancer mode now as well as the campaign. If you turn off for players that are not as good, you can have the mission stories which guide you a bit. For players that are better, just put it up to the hardest difficulty and turn things off. Turn off Instinct if you want as well for a real more of a challenge like the old games. Probably nearly as hard as the old games, not quite. That's the thing. I think the old games did better. I think they were just harder games. It was more satisfying to win. So I quite liked that. But yeah, in terms of World of Assassination, they are like ridiculously good games with so much content. So yeah, I'd recommend them. But anyway, that's going off topic. That's the PS4 era. Yeah, then you had the Yakuzas of the PS3 era. Yakuza 3, pretty good, not amazing. Some of the aspects of the story were really fun. There was loads of side content. Yakuza 4, I liked more. I liked the introduction of Akiyama as a character. I thought he was awesome. And yeah, again, the story wasn't actually particularly great in the Yakuza standards, but overall, it was a fun game with lots of content to do, as usual. And then Yakuza 5, also loads and loads of content. Probably my least favourite of the three, actually, just because I felt it went on a bit too long, but there was a lot to do in the game and some really cool moments as well. Pretty much all the Yakuza games are good, so of every era, but actually, debatably, the PS3 era for Yakuza was the worst, actually, but still recommend playing them. And yeah, so I'm just trying to think of what I haven't mentioned. I've mentioned a lot of stuff. Oh, the Wii. So the Wii had some awesome games. You had, obviously, Wii Sports with the different sports were boxing, tennis, baseball, bowling, and golf, I think. Those were really fun. Rayman Raving Rabbids was a blast to play. It was so fun on the Wii. I played it on PS2 as well, but it was more fun on Wii. I think I played Rayman Raving Rabbids 2 on Wii, possibly. I can't remember, but yeah, it was fun. Especially when you're playing with mates, it just makes it more enjoyable. But it was still fun on your own, playing against the bots, or maybe you had online as well. I can't remember, but yeah, it was good. And then obviously Xbox had Halo, which I did like. Not a massive fan. I didn't play it at the time, so I got an Xbox. When I got the Xbox One in 2015, I think. That's when I first played them. And Gears of War, which I'm not particularly a fan of, but it's alright. Cover shooting. I know lots of people absolutely love it. Some of their favourite games of all time, but yeah, not for me. I think the characters are a bit one-dimensional, actually, but it is what it is. Innovative game. You know, the first game with cover shooting. So yeah, fair play. Yeah, there's loads of good games because in that era you also had the FIFA games now are kind of a joke, but back or EA Sport FC or EAFC or I can't remember, some nonsense name because it stopped being called FIFA. But back when it was called FIFA on the PS3 era, those were the first ones which introduced the arena mode, which was quite cool. So you had you could shoot against the goalie in the arena, practice skills, all that sort of stuff, which I thought was awesome. The PS3 were the first ones to do that. So shout out to that. Not really a big fan of the series anymore, but yeah. Anyway, whatever. What else have we got here? So Assassin's Creed Ezio. I'm not sure if I mentioned them a bit earlier, but those were good stealth games as well. When I mentioned Deus Ex Human Revolution and Dishonored, those are just so good. They're like 9 out of 10s, maybe 9.5 level games. Whereas Assassin's Creed's I'd say it's an 8. Assassin's Creed 2 was a good game, mate. I've played loads of games now, and they're good. They're good. They deserve to be good, and they're very mainstream friendly. Like they're easy to pick up. They're not that hard games, so I can understand why people love them. Whereas games like Dishonored and Deus Ex Human Revolution take more skill. To be honest, that's probably why Assassin's Creed's more popular. It's easy to play. And to be fair, it's a pretty cool game. Like interesting characters, use of the hidden blade and all that stuff. Yeah, it's good. It's worth playing. Absolutely, like 8 out of 10. Assassin's Creed 2, maybe 3 as well was an 8 out of 10 for me because they tried to move things up with the story. The gameplay probably wasn't that good, but the story was pretty good. Although they improved the climbing in 3 over the others. But yeah, I wasn't as keen on Brotherhood because I felt it was just more of the same as 2. I didn't feel like it really improved on 2 that much. Yeah, you could argue the combat was better and the controls were a bit better. Fine, sure. And you had the arena mode or VR mode or whatever it was. But overall, I think the story just wasn't as good. It was fine. Like, don't get me wrong. I thought, I'm trying to remember the name of the guy. Cesare, wasn't that Cesare? Was the main villain. Yeah, he was pretty good as a villain, to be fair. But overall, I just didn't think it was as grand in scale as Assassin's Creed 2. It felt more like a really amazing DLC than a new game to me. And then Brotherhood as well. I actually probably enjoyed Brotherhood more than I enjoyed Revelations more than Brotherhood, just because I felt again it was much more ambitious in scope with the story and closing things and the Altair Ezio links. I liked all that. I liked that. And as a game, in terms of gameplay, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood probably was actually the best of the three for gameplay, and it maybe even including Assassin's Creed 3 in that as well. But I just didn't draw me in as much. It felt quite grindy. You had all the Borgia towers to do and all that stuff. I just found that tedious. Yeah, so overall, I just found two just was probably two was the best, and then three closely after. But three is my favourite story, and I loved some of the stuff going on. Just in case people haven't played it, I won't give it away. But it was just more ambitious in scope, in my opinion, in terms of trying new things in the series. And then obviously Black Flag took it to another level with the pirate stuff. Again, technically Black Flag did release on the PS3 era as well as PS4, so yeah, it kind of counts as this era too. But yeah, Black Flag was, again, it's an amazing game. Probably the second best Assassin's Creed game after 2, actually, but it's not an Assassin's Creed game in a sense. It's a pirate game, really, with Assassin's Creed just put on there to sell copies, really. But it was good. It was fun. Yeah, so I'd recommend that as well if you haven't played it. So we've gone over this as well. Trying to think of more games. There is just so many. Oh, detective games. LA Noire. So I mentioned Heavy Rain earlier, which is sort of interactive mystery story, detective, whatever. But LA Noire is just pure detective, as well as police work stuff as well, which was actually less fun than the detective stuff, in my opinion. And also, it was a little bit silly how you could analyse so many different items. You had loads of items you could analyse, and lots of it wasn't relevant to the story. And the stories you kind of couldn't fail as well, which was a bit annoying. It was a bit handholdy. But overall, the interrogations and stuff like that was so cool. The voice acting was absolutely phenomenal. Maybe some of the best voice acting in any game ever, in my opinion. So, yeah, really, really fun game, and I would hugely recommend it, especially if you're into detective games. Maybe the best detective game, sole detective game of all time, just like pure detective. But also I loved, debatably Sherlock Holmes Crimes and Punishment was as good, if not better, but I think objectively LA Noire is a better game, but I think I had more fun with Sherlock Holmes Crimes and Punishment, actually. But anyway, it's besides the point. That was PS4 era anyway. You had Murdered Soul Suspect. No, that's PS4 era. Sorry. No, I'm focusing on the PS3 era. So you had LA Noire and Heavy Rain, but Heavy Rain just had detective elements. It wasn't solely a detective game. I'm trying to think if there were many other detective games of that era. I'm trying to remember if I played them. I can't think of them off the top of my head, but there may have been more. So, a bit annoying that I can't remember. Oh, maybe the Raven remastered. The Raven. I'm trying to remember if the Raven was a game in the PS3, Xbox 360 era, because that was fun. I played the remastered version on PS4, and I would hugely recommend those as well. Again, not the same level as LA Noire, obviously, but still a fun game and massively worth playing. It was released... Okay, so technically it was within the PS3 era because it was released before PS4 and Xbox One. But it was only released on computer before then, and then it was released on PS3. Oh, no. Yeah, it was released on PS3 and then it was remastered. Yeah, it's PS3 era, obviously, then. Yeah, I'd recommend that as well. Not an incredible game, but an interesting story. Good mystery, so yeah, worth playing. You also had the Frogware Sherlock Holmes game. I think it was The Testament of Sherlock Holmes was during that era, and maybe some of the other ones, possibly. I think there was one released in... Maybe even Jack the Ripper that one was during that era as well. That was all right. You had the Arsène Lupin one. That might have been during... I think the 360 was out at the time, so yeah, it technically counts as that era. So yeah, those were pretty good games. Less handholdy than the newer ones, but I personally preferred Crimes and Punishment. I thought that was the ultimate Sherlock Holmes, and that should have been the formula kept the whole time. Just individual cases, multiple individual cases, mostly investigation, not much gameplay. That's the problem with what they did in the game after. They tried to make it more of an adventure instead of detective. Sherlock Holmes traditionally is a detective, not an adventurer. Okay, the BBC Sherlock was an awesome series, but it was more of an adventure drama with detective elements. But traditional Sherlock Holmes should be a detective. He shouldn't have to do these extra things, like these extra sneaking around with Watson, or I don't know. I thought it was a bit rubbish, to be honest. That sort of element of the next game, Sherlock Holmes' Devil's Daughter, was a little bit, just needless faff in the game instead of just the detective stuff. Well, actually, I quite enjoyed playing the bowls game in one of the cases. That was quite fun. Another game I forgot to mention before was Red Dead Redemption. Obviously, arguably Rockstar's best ever game, in my opinion. I've really enjoyed it, playing as John Marston and exploring the Wild West. I thought the story was actually... I enjoyed it more than in Red Dead Redemption 2. I felt Red Dead Redemption 2 was a bit too slow. I felt the missions were really dragged on. There was lots of dialogue. Don't get me wrong, it's probably a better story in Red Dead Redemption 2, but it was slower, and I got a bit bored towards the end. I did finish the game a while ago, but I just had more fun with 1. It just felt more of a game, whereas 2 felt like an experience, if that makes sense. I don't know how to describe it, but yeah, 1 was just faster, and yeah, I don't know, I just preferred playing as John to Arthur, actually. I think Arthur, I don't know, I think Arthur has more of a personality than John, but John, it's kind of like his redemptive phase, because he was, trying to improve himself as a character. I don't know, I just relate, not necessarily related more to him, but I just preferred him. I just preferred him as a character, even though he's probably more boring, actually. But yeah, I just felt the missions were more fun in that one. So yeah, still prefer that one. I think it is Rockstar's best game, especially that I've played anyway. Well, actually, debatably, LA Noire was as good. Bully was fun as well, but yeah, I think I prefer that. GTA 5 obviously is a good game as well, but I prefer Red Dead Redemption. I think they are better games. Much better stories. So anyway, that's all I have to say about that. It's just a great game. I think almost everyone's played it anyway at this point.